Welcome to Dark Docent. My name is Jake. Join me as I guide my friend James down the paranormal rabbit hole, attempting to prove the authenticity of a new case each week. Today's case, El Chupacabra. How you doing today, James?
I'm doing not too bad today, Jake. How are you?
Not bad at all. Fucking hot.
It is. It's been sweltering these past few days.
It has. But you know what? That's okay. We're in a cold basement. We got cold brews. And I've got a hot case for you.
A hot case?
Yes, sir. A hot case in a hot place. I got a story for you. February 1975. Mocha, Puerto Rico. Farmers have woken up around Mocha, Puerto Rico to do their usual routine. Feed the animals, plow the fields, all the normal farmer stuff. Except today, farmers have woken up to a grisly sight. Farmers all around Mocha have found their cows, goats, geese, and a pig dead. But not just dead, completely drained of blood.
Vampire bears?
Well, it's something like a vampire, because there's puncture wounds in all their necks. And they're really big, and they are almost surgical the way they are. They called the local authorities to inspect the damage, look at all the animals, see what could have happened. The local authorities said, "I don't know, a fox," and left it at that. Well, that obviously is not a very good explanation. A fox wouldn't do this to massive animals. And the public took what the authorities said and turned it up to 11. They all thought it was a satanic cult in their town, sacrificing all the goats and cows. But the weird thing about that is there's no footprints in the fields, no knife wounds, just 2 punctures. That's it. 1 week later, Ray Jimenez found his cow dead, with puncture wounds in its skull and scratches all around its face, also drained of blood. A week after that, March 15th, a farmer found 34 chickens drained of blood with the same puncture wounds. In 2 weeks, we are at 90 dead animals. 3 days later, a farmer named Hector Vega found 2 goats with puncture wounds and no blood. The next day, he found 7 more of his goats injured, 10 of them dead, and 10 more missing. We were in the hundreds. It hasn't even been a month yet, and we were in the hundreds for casualties. An investigation was launched to find the culprit of whoever or whatever was doing this. Based on the wounds, herpetologist Juan Rivera hypothesized that it could be a Puerto Rican boa. But 1, they aren't venomous. 2, they don't suck blood. 3, they could not kill anything bigger than a goat. They're rather small animals. So people move on to the next theory. Nearby Mocha, there were caves that were found with new species of bats. So people thought instantly it was the bats. The bats are coming out and sucking all the blood dry. Issue with that, all of these bats were fruit bats. Not a single one was a vampire bat. So it wasn't the bats. So there seemed to be no leads on the deaths of any of these animals, and the farmers were shaken. They began loading guns, staking out their farms, and gathering posses nightly to find this creature, which now has a name. El Vampiro de Mocha. But in July 1975, as fast as the killings began, they stopped. Whatever was doing this disappeared and was never heard from again. Not until 20 years later. In March 1995, Orocovis, Puerto Rico, the killings resumed. Farmers reported their livestock being murdered, drained of blood, with surgical puncture wounds in the neck of the animals. El Vampiro de Mocha had returned, but under a new moniker that has easily placed itself on the Mount Rushmore of cryptozoology. James, have you heard of El Chupacabra?
Oh, yeah, I have heard of Chupacabra.
What do you think of El Chupacabra?
Sorry, El Chupacabra.
El Chupacabra.
Brah.
Brah. But you got to roll the tongue on this one.
El Chupacabra.
That's it. What do you think of El Chupacabra?
You know, I don't really know too much about it other than I think I know that it kills animals. Maybe that was about it. And I thought it was like, I was thinking more Mexico, but I guess it could have been Latin America in general. But other than that, I know nothing.
Okay.
Couldn't even spell it.
Give it a try.
Fuck. CHUPACKABRA.
Oh, so close, no K. But you were close. Well, the common thing that people say about El Chupacabra, at least in America, Canada, is it's the quote-unquote Mexican Bigfoot. Yes and no.
Doesn't have big feet?
No. Fame-wise, yes. It's like the Mexican Bigfoot, okay, for popularity. But it is not Mexican. It is Puerto Rican. And it's not really a Bigfoot. And also, lots of our generation think of it as a Bigfoot because of that Scooby-Doo episode that came out like 20 years ago, where they do coin it the Mexican Bigfoot and then made it a literal Mexican Bigfoot. So, no, it's not the Mexican Bigfoot. It's a Puerto Rican cryptid with the fame of Bigfoot.
Do they have men in Chupacabra suits over there?
No. So when the farmers woke up in Puerto Rico in March of 1995, the first animals killed were 8 sheep. The wounds on these creatures were very strange. Some had the puncture wounds on the neck, but some had 3 puncture wounds on the chest. It was almost like in a triangle, 3 perfect circles. The farmers took these animals to a local vet to do an autopsy, see what happened. This was 12 hours after they found the sheep. They bring them to the vet, a veterinarian named Carlos Soto. The first thing he noticed about the animals is it had been over 12 hours since these animals died, but there was no sign of rigor mortis. There was no blood pooling in the lower parts of the animal, which is strange. This could indicate possibly lack of blood in their system, or maybe a strange internal bleeding, we don't know. He analyzed the creatures. This is where we found the 3 punctures in the chest and the 2 punctures in the neck. The 2 punctures in the neck were the diameter of a straw. They were surgically cut, perfect circles. Here's the thing. The sheep were bit in the neck, but the fang didn't end until it hit the brain of the animal. So these are big teeth, whatever bit this thing.
Or big something.
Who knows?
Twisty straws?
Fuck. I never thought of twisty straws. Fuck, let's just throw this whole thing out then. I think it's done.
Twisty straws are up there with the crop circles and Bermuda Triangle and quicksand.
You don't think about them when you're a kid?
Yeah, they're a staple of your childhood, and then they're gone.
Kind of like your parents' love.
When was the last time you... I'm just going to ignore that one. When was the last time you saw a twisty straw?
I think I saw some, like, within the last decade, but they weren't the same. They were different. They weren't like the old school twisty straw. They had like a little swirl in them. They weren't the fucking crazy straws.
I'd like to see a paper twisty straw. Good luck with that one, McDonald's.
After these animal attacks, the fear in Puerto Rico was real, and the case became very popular. Older people were referencing the vampire of Mocha, and these new people were like, what the hell's going on? These animals are dying out of nowhere, getting killed. It got so popular, in fact, that comedian Silverio Revez spoke about it on his radio show, dubbing it El Chupacabra. That's where we get the name.
That's where it came from? I was just about to ask.
Yes. Chupacabra in Spanish means goat sucker.
Well, how about that?
After this, more and more animals were killed throughout Puerto Rico. But it wasn't until August of 1995 that we got our first real good sighting of what the Chupacabra looks like. In August 1995, in Canavanas, Puerto Rico, Madeline Tolentino was in her home. She said it was sometime in the afternoon between 1 and 4 p.m. when she happened to look outside, and in front of her house stood a strange creature, 3 to 5 feet tall. She said, quote, "It looked like a kangaroo without a tail, walking on its hind legs like a human. It had 2 thin arms, 3 fingers and toes, large dark black eyes, no ears, 2 small holes for a nose, and feathered spikes down its back." She also said to her mother that, quote, "I saw the devil."
Feathered spikes?
Feathered spikes.
I think it's like a dinosaur.
I don't think it's a dinosaur.
3 claws, feathered spikes, 2 holes for noses and no ears. Sounds like a dinosaur.
A little bit. But wait till you see this thing. It looks
Clever girl.
This thing looks a lot different than a dinosaur, and I will show you.
Okay.
Here is the image based on the eyewitness testimony that was drawn. Feast your eyes.
Phosphorescent, bright-colored spine-like appendages that run over the body from head to the end of the back. The spine colors change constantly from red to blue to yellow to green to orange and to violet. The body is covered by fine gray fur with darker spots. Strong feet with claws. 4 to 5 feet tall. Big slanted red eyes. Small holes for nostrils. Lipless mouth. No ears. Only auditive holes. Thin arms with 3-fingered hands with claws. That is all the words written beside the weirdest looking alien type drawing thing that I've ever seen. How I would describe it is like a classic gray alien big head with no real features and real big eyes. Again, no lips, no nose, just a couple holes there. I don't know how I would really describe the body, and it's got like knees, and then it's got like the reverse bending joints to the feet that are stood up on toes. I guess kind of like a kangaroo.
Yeah, it kind of spot on with what you described.
Yeah, and then they are thin little arms they look like talon-like claws, and then like not many, but a bunch of porcupine-esque spines sticking out the back from the top of the head to where the tail would be if it had a tail, which it does not.
It's a weird looking thing.
Yeah.
It's not what people expect when they think of the Chupacabra.
That's not what I expected. I was expecting some kind of like gray, malnourished, fleshy dog type thing.
And I know why you think that, and we will get to that. So that's our first witness drawing from Madeline Tolentino.
Good artist. Better than Chris Lizardman.
She actually didn't draw it herself.
Oh.
She had a guy draw it for her.
And it was dated 1995.
Yes. But this was not the only encounter she had with the Chupacabra. Only a few days later, she had a second encounter in her house with other people corroborating her claim. Her mother initially corroborated her claim in the first one. She was also in the house and witnessed the creature as well. But the second time, Madeline, her husband, and a co-worker were home when they heard a disturbance in the garage. They went down to check what was happening, turned on the lights, and that's where they saw it. El Chupacabra was in the garage scrounging around for something. It turned around, and the same description that you saw in that picture was in the garage. So they attempted to corner it and tackle it. They were going around trying to tackle this creature in the garage, but it evaded them and escaped before they could catch it. And actually, from that encounter is when we got the drawing. So they were close to it, and it was in their fucking house.
And now there's 4 people that have seen it?
4 people that have seen it. Apparently there was also a boy on the street who got startled by the creature on his bike and threw bottles and ran from it, but he never came forward, so we don't know anything about him. This blew up Chupacabra even more. After this, people were citing it all over Puerto Rico. People were claiming that it was in their backyards attacking their dogs and they were fending it off. People claimed that it was breaking into their house and going after their stuffies. People claimed they saw it stalking their livestock at night when they were doing a stakeout. This thing was everywhere. By the end of 1995, we have hundreds of witnesses. And animal deaths were over 1,000. These animals included dogs, cats, chickens, rabbits, goats, sheep, and cows. The weird thing about some of those animals is some of those animals, like rabbits, were in their cages still when they were killed.
Well, if it had long, curvy fangs, then I guess it could do that.
Some claim that the chupacabra uses its tongue, which would explain the strange puncture marks, and it slithered through the cages and punctured the rabbits, sucking it dry and then leaving.
I didn't see any thumbs on the drawing. Is it just like using its tongue to open doors too?
I don't know.
Pick locks with its tongue?
She saw 3 fingers. Who knows? I don't know how it's doing things. It's an unknown creature. All we know is that it's plaguing Puerto Rico and it's killing sheep. And by January 1996, I actually have a video for you of just after a chupacabra attack.
After the attack?
Yeah. I got a video of them going through all the sheep that were killed and showing you the wounds. Would you like to see that?
I would love to see that.
I figured you would.
Después que se ve la cabra no importa.
Mírala. Esta tiene, se le cortaron la arteria.
Well, I don't know exactly what they were saying, but I think it was along the lines of what the heli. There were a bunch of dead or almost dead animals, all sheeps by the look of it in this video, and they showcased some of the puncture wounds, which were, at least on that one that got up close, 2 puncture wounds, like you said, lower neck.
And sometimes there's 1 puncture, sometimes there's 2 punctures, sometimes, I told you before, there's 3.
Maybe there's a gang of them all snacking.
It could be. We don't know. But as far as I know, Chupacabra's only ever been cited as 1. I thought it was really creepy when that one was still kind of alive.
Yeah.
You could tell like it was recent.
It was recent, yeah. Because it wasn't quite dead. But it not being quite dead makes me think that it obviously didn't have most of its blood drained by any means. Otherwise, it would just be dead.
Well, most guys, like they wake up in the morning, this thing has all night to kill and suck the blood dry. This one obviously didn't have the blood all sucked out of it. And I think some of them obviously didn't have all of the blood sucked, but you know what I mean. No blood on the ground.
Yeah. It didn't even really look like there was blood on the fur.
No, it was weird, right? Unnatural. After all this, Chupacabra was popular in Puerto Rico. But this is when he started his international tour. After this, the Chupacabra was cited in several countries, and several other countries had attacks. Do you want me to go through every country that has had a Chupacabra sighting?
Please do. Rapid fire, alphabetical order.
I won't have it in alphabetical order, but I'll have it in order of what's closest to what's furthest.
From Puerto Rico?
From Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Mexico. Brazil. Peru. Chile. Argentina. Dominican Republic. I already fucked it up. Nicaragua. Florida. The Carolinas. Texas. Canada. Spain. Russia. Finland, India, and even Japan have had sightings or attacks from a Chupacabra.
Texas is my favorite country.
Different places.
Yeehaw!
All over the United States, but mainly the southern states.
Even here in Canada and Russia.
Not only even here in Canada, but on one of the Gulf Islands.
Damn.
Yeah, close.
Real close.
And that was only 10 years ago. Weird.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I think there was like 20 plus animals killed on one of the Gulf Islands in 2011.
Those darn kids pranking the locals. Where do you think the Chupacabra went for 20 years?
I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't know. Like, we do have animals that suck blood. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah,
we have
spiders and bats.
Yeah,
like that's really about it. I think
that's mainly it. Nothing big. It kind of reminds me of. Have you ever watched the X-Files?
Nope.
There's a episode called Tombs. I think it's like the 3rd episode of the 1st season, And it's the episode that started garnering attention for the show. And it's about this humanoid guy. And every 30 years, he wakes up from hibernation and collects 5 livers and then eats them and hibernates again. But he's not really a human. He's like a contortionist, weird animal guy, but looks like a human. It actually made people freak out because he would go through the vents after closing time and eat businessmen that were staying late to work. It's a really creepy episode, but it's cool. But it kind of reminds me of that. Like a guy goes into stasis and then comes out when it's time to feed and then goes away again.
That's kind of what I was thinking at first. Like, okay, they woke up, they sucked a bunch of animals, and then they just hibernated again.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's just spread and been fairly constant since.
Pretty constant. It's
like, how long of a stint did they go on there? Like you said, up to 10 years ago.
So after this, basically the year of 1995 from March onwards was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And the Vampire of Mocha lasted about 6 months.
Okay.
It started in February of 75 and went till July.
Right.
6 months after March, it would have been August. But then after August, that's when sightings and stuff start to explode. But I also think that the reason they did is because I think some of the people citing it aren't telling the full truth. And I also think it could be misidentification for other animals. I just think that the media didn't help things.
If they look anything like that drawing, I think it would be very difficult to misidentify. That doesn't look like anything.
I may have an explanation for that.
Bear?
No, not bear.
Darn.
But one thing I do want to add is both times these things happened, there were massive droughts in Puerto Rico. So not only does that create desperate animals, but it also creates aggravated and tired humans. People who would be on edge way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of anger-related driving incidents, violent stuff. It all goes up in the summertime. So especially if there's a drought, people might be dehydrated. That could add to things, people seeing things, and then maybe a case of slight mass hysteria and people just going with the story. Anything could be a chupacabra. There was over 1,000 strange deaths to animals that year, but who knows how many of those were actually these strange chupacabra. Maybe some of them line up with other animals. We don't actually know because there were so many killings. And that could also lead because of the drought. Could have led to more killings from animals getting desperate. Just a little something that I think could apply to this.
Right.
What was your question? Did I answer it?
I said, where did you think it went for 20 years?
Right.
And then we briefly said, hibernation.
Yeah, could have hibernated. Could have been something else. Could be different animals. We don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
But when this thing started doing its international tour, people in other places kind of already heard about Chupacabra. People began doing stakeouts. There was actually a string of attacks in Nicaragua in 2000. There was a man named Jose Luis Tolavara, and he just had an apparent chupacabra attack the night before. So he decided, get a gun, stake out his farm overnight. So he did that. He loaded his rifle, went out to his field, hid in a blind, waited for the creature. As he's waiting, things are getting dark. He sees movement. Something comes out of the bushes. And it's a strange animal he had never seen before. So he lifted his rifle and he aimed down the sight. August 30th, 2000, we have our first confirmed body of a chupacabra.
August 30th, 2000, we have a chupacabra.
Yes, sir.
Do we really?
I'm not lying.
Well, then what's the mystery?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
This gets a little more deep than you think. He sees this creature. It's like nothing he'd ever seen before, but he wanted to get a second opinion.
For all he knows, it could be a capybara.
Could be. Who knows? Just a weird looking capybara. So he called out a veterinarian to come see the animal. This was the veterinarian's description of the animal. Big eye cavities, bat-like skin, big claws, large teeth, and a spinal crest. The vet claimed that he believed it was a genetic experiment that had escaped. Weird vet. Jose is stoked. He has the first body of a chupacabra. So he gets it tested at the National Autonomous University of Nicaragua. About a week later, the results come back. The results, according to the National Autonomous University of Nicaragua, is a dog. A dog with mange.
Well, there you have it.
Here's the thing. When Jose got the results, he was perplexed. He knows a dog. He's a farmer. He knew some animals, he just didn't know what the hell this thing was.
E-I-E-I-O, am I right?
When he got the body back, he claimed that they switched the bodies. Quote, "That's not my goat sucker."
Translated, obviously.
Obviously.
Tu es no muy chupacabra.
Nailed it.
Not quite, but
I'll have to talk to Conti and Harold about our translation.
you is not my you is not my goat sucker. This is what I think I said.
Put that on a Valentine's Day card. This actually gets consistent. After this, the Puerto Rican Chupacabra slowly morphs from a strange alien-looking creature to more of a canine-looking creature, which is kind of why you probably thought it looked more canine.
Yeah.
And this is actually backed up by other stakeouts that happened in Mexico. Patricia and Mario Mendoza Acosta staked out farms all across Mexico where Chupacabra attacks had occurred. And each time they did, they caught a mangy dog. For most people who don't know what mange is, it's like a disease that causes thick, scaly skin and loss of fur. The dogs look almost bluish gray in their coloring, and they just look real sickly. It almost looks kind of alien-like when they have no fur and they look real rubbery skin.
Yeah, and it can affect a lot of animals too, not just dogs.
Yes, it can affect bears, deer, basically most mammals, I believe, can get mange.
Shit wandering around in the forest.
Yeah. So lots of people believed that the Chupacabra is most likely just a dog with mange. But the weird thing is, it doesn't really fit. These teeth did not match the same puncture marks that Puerto Rican ones had. Like, it fits with the more recent sightings of Chupacabra, but these strange ones that happened in 95 and 75 do not match with the same description. And also, the kills aren't quite the same. For example, lots of people were losing more chickens and rabbits after this. They weren't losing their goats and their sheep as much. They described it not so much as punctures, but as if the animal was being ripped open and the blood was being poured out. Didn't quite match what the Puerto Rican one was.
No, not quite.
But not only was that our first apparent body of a Chupacabra, it wasn't our last. And we actually have several more bodies and photos and videos of apparent Chupacabras.
Really?
We do. The next body that we get is 7 years later, June 2007, Cuervo, Texas. Naturopath and hunter, Phyllis Canyon, saw a strange hairless canine on the outside of her farm. She said it had bluish gray flesh, and when she saw it for a moment, and then it turned back and went back into the woods. The next day, she found one of her chickens drained of blood, and this one apparently had punctures as well. So she set up cameras all around her property. Gonna see what this thing was, see if I can get it on video. She wasn't so lucky, didn't catch a single thing. But her neighbors called, saying that they found a body that matched her description on their farm. Another farmer found another body that was hit by a car, even closer to her farm. So she hopped in her tractor, went to where this body apparently was, loaded up the corpse. It matched the description. She said this is definitely the creature. And she brought it back to her house for examination.
It sounds like a dog with mange.
It does. At the same time, we got a dash cam video of an apparent Chupacabra from DeWitt County police officers. This is actually a really famous video of the apparent Chupacabra.
Well, let's see it.
Now, I want to remind you, the police officer in training who saw this said he had never seen an animal like this before. This was not a dog or a coyote. It was completely different, and it did not match.
This makes me think it's going to be something that I can recognize.
Now, I also want you to remember, the Chupacabra walks on 2 legs, it has spines on its back, and no ears. Also no tail.
Noted.
Here's the DeWitt County dash cam footage.
I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it. It's in the daytime. What is that? Oh, man. Woo! He's lost. How crazy is that?
Convinced yet?
That was a dog. That was a close-up video of a dog running.
Pardon you, sir. That was a chupacabra. I don't know what you saw.
I don't know what they saw.
That bipedal creature on all four legs with no ears that had flapping ears?
Who says Americans are stupid? They not have police dogs? Has she never seen a dog? It looked like a Doberman or something.
This is according to them. A quote was, they had never seen an animal like this before. And the reason they said it's not a dog is because it's hairless. The snout was a little longer than it should be. And the hind legs were a little longer than the front legs.
Well, it did not look hairless to me. It looked like a dog.
You might be right in that assumption. It looked like my dog Cricket if he was hairless.
Yeah.
But just because it looked like a dog, does it really mean it's a dog?
Did it bark like a dog?
We don't know.
Did it smell like a dog?
We don't know. But what we do know is we have a body that's about to get tested and examined in Texas right now.
Is that also a dog? It sounded
No,
like
it's not.
The description sounded like a dog with mange. You described it perfectly.
I'm gonna show you. Give me a moment. You're gonna eat crow on this, brother.
I would never eat a crow. They're so smart and cute. They're like dogs of the bird world.
Phyllis began examining the apparent chupacabra back at her house. She's a hunter. She knows animals. And she began looking through it, and she said that this doesn't look like anything she's seen before.
Where have I heard that before?
About 5 minutes ago. But this is different. She brought it home for examination. She then chopped its head off and kept the body and the head in her freezer. She was convinced that she had a chupacabra. She took DNA and sent it to 5 different labs for testing. And they all got results. Quote, all of them came back identical. They do not match any animal in the archive.
Not one animal?
No.
Can I see a photo of the headless body or the bodiless head? Or preferably both of them together?
Here is Phyllis with the head of the chupacabra.
Looks like a dog.
But the DNA doesn't match.
Okay. Still looks like a dog.
She was so convinced that this was a chupacabra, she had it taxidermized and it sits in her living room to this day. I have a photo of that.
Why did she cut the head off?
I don't know. I think this was the
It
only
was
way.
already dead, right?
This was the only way.
It wouldn't fit in the freezer with the head still on.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. She cut the head off though. But she got it taxidermized.
The body too?
Yes. This is where it stands today in her living room.
It's got beautiful blue eyes.
Apparently that's what it had when it was alive too.
It's a dog with no hair on it. Or a coyote with no hair on it.
Okay. I'm getting the vibes that you might think.
Americans don't know what dogs are. I'm just finding this out.
Slow down.
Sorry, I'm making wild accusations.
You're
here.
making wild accusations.
This is just 2/3 people and 5
James.
universities.
James. We have Texas police officers and a naturopath claiming they have never seen an animal like this before. And we have
Phyllis is a nut.
DNA testing that says, quote, they do not match any animal in the archive.
They forgot to archive dog.
Here's the thing. She was right. There was no animal in the archive that matched this. However, the way she said it missed a few things. So I started looking up what the actual labs and universities said. It was true. They did not have an animal that matched anything in their archives. Because it was a hybrid. This was a new hybrid of coyote and Mexican wolf with mange.
Huh.
So yes, there was nothing in their archives that matched this, but it was a hybrid animal. They told this to Phyllis, and she claims, no, I still think it's a chupacabra, and it still stands in her living room today.
Gross.
I wanted to bring up the Texas chupacabra because I hate it.
Is it just dogs?
It's just dogs. Literally every single thing is a dog. If you look up every picture, you can find tons of pictures of dead chupacabras or live chupacabras in Texas.
Mhm.
All of them are coyote Mexican wolf hybrids with mange. It would make sense. Texas close to Mexico. There are coyotes and Mexican wolves. They could interbreed.
Texaco hairless dog.
Texaco hairless dog. There you go. But when you look up chupacabra, this is the first thing that comes up. The Texas chupacabra. It's so stupid, and it's such a waste of your time because there is some weird stuff that happened in Puerto Rico. But all the stuff that happened in Texas and America, these chupacabras, they're just mangy dogs. If anyone shows you a picture of an apparent chupacabra and it looks like this, it is a mangy dog. If anyone shows you a dead body or thing that was captured from anywhere in the States and it looks like this, it is a mangy dog. Don't even look into it. It's a dog. Every time. But it doesn't explain what happened in Puerto Rico. That's the one I want to focus on. The Puerto Rican chupacabra is the most interesting part of the chupacabra story. It also interested a man named Benjamin Radford, who wrote a book on the chupacabra in 2011 called Tracking the Chupacabra, the Vampire Beast in Fact, Fiction, and Folklore. Benjamin Radford's kind of more of a skeptic, like he's interested, but he was like, I can debunk things before anything happened. He interviewed Madeline Talentino, and he interviewed her in 2010s, and he also got the interview that she initially did in 1996 and compared them. One thing he did find interesting, when Madeline talked about her strange creature she saw, it sounded familiar to Benjamin Radford. And then he thought about it, and it reminded him a lot of a creature in the movie Species. Have you ever heard of the movie Species?
No, sir, I have not.
It came out in 1995. It's about an alien that disguises itself as a woman and seduces men to eat them. Here's what the creature Syl looks like from the movie Species. Would you like to see the chupacabra first and then compare?
Yeah. Or can we go side by side?
We can try to go to side by side here. So here's another version of the same drawing.
Kind of reminds me of Garfield. I hate Mondays.
Sitting around a bunch of dead goats. I hate Mondays. That's not lasagna, Garfield.
I hate to tell you this, John, but we're out of lasagna.
So, that is the Puerto Rican chupacabra. Here is Syl from the movie Species.
I definitely see some similarities and some features that stand out.
There is. I don't see all of it.
I mean, there's spikes on the back. It looks kind of scaly, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's really about it from the photo.
Yes.
The legs maybe look more similar, but they're cut off in the photo, so I can't see them. Claws, I guess.
I think the legs are more humanoid.
Right.
Everything else is just more humanoid.
Easier for production.
Yeah. There's also the black eyes. It's like kind of matches the eyes of the chupacabra.
Yeah.
Apparently Madeline had seen the movie Species not long before she saw the chupacabra.
Uh-oh.
And she claimed it was remarkably similar what the chupacabra was doing compared to what was happening in the movie Species. And she actually remarked that it's crazy how what's happening in Species is also happening in Puerto Rico.
Is Madeline a crazy person, by chance?
I don't know. I can see a comparison. It's not perfect,
It's not perfect.
but I can see how they can take aspects and make something up or like think you see something. But also, it doesn't explain how her husband, coworker, and mom also saw it. And her husband is now her ex-husband. And he still says that that's what they saw. You'd think if you were separated, you would be okay with kind of shit-talking what the person saw. That's just what I think. So, I don't know what to make of that. But it definitely is a theory. But even though the description of Syl and the chupacabra in Puerto Rico are similar, and even though the Texas chupacabra is a dog, we still have the Puerto Rican chupacabra with the strange bites and everything else that happened and the thousands of dead animals.
Like the real incidents.
Yes.
Do you have any more about the chupacabra in other places in the world?
Not much very It's a lot of like, I saw
It's
it.
just like alleged sightings
Yeah.
across the world.
Yeah. There's a few places that have dead animals. Mexico, Peru, Chile, Brazil, South America.
Yeah, like Latin countries are more believable. And then when you start getting out there, like Russia, Canada, Switzerland, wherever else you said.
Yeah. And also, who knows what they saw? Because if you look at actually some of the descriptions of the Chupacabra, some of them say it has a tail. Some of them say it's more dog-like. Some of them say it's more alien-like. Some of them say it has wings. They differ a lot as you go around. It almost feels like they just put Chupacabra on seeing something strange, which that's what I think.
That's
So,
what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Do you have any pictures of like the 3 puncture wounds, perhaps? 'Cause I've seen the 2. They were in the video.
Yep.
Like that old videos like that are pretty damning because like, okay, I just flat out believe that was a dying animal on the ground with 2 puncture wounds. That doesn't necessarily mean that anything beyond that, but it's something.
I can't find any pictures of the 3 wounds. There's other wounds that are like strange and similar in different kinds of cases, but it also attaches to something else that I will bring up with you. So yeah, we had those first one with the 3 puncture marks. Some of them do, but the neck always has the 2 or the 1 on the side of it. With that though, we can get into our discussion, but first, I got theories for you, buddy.
Let's hear them.
Theory number 1, or should we do this in Spanish? Theory uno. Dog with mange. Animals with mange are sick and they look kind of alien, as we've gone over. Animals with mange are also more desperate and they will go after livestock because it's easier to entrap and kill than actually trying to hunt something. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
This also ties into a few other theories that kind of attach with this. Young animals tend to practice kill. So they will just murder anything, not really determine size or tactics, just to practice getting the kill down. I know this because I've seen it personally. I used to have goats at my house, and 2 of them died overnight because they were killed by cougars. And they were determined to be juvenile because they were killed but not eaten. That's something that could also lead to the strangeness of why the animals aren't necessarily eaten, they're just bitten. Another thing that adds to this is these all happen during droughts. And as I've said before, animals get more desperate in droughts and more aggravated, as do humans. So this could all kind of tie in as to why humans get more into the craze of the Chupacabra. Theory dos. Monkeys. There's an island off the coast of Puerto Rico called Cayo Santiago, and it holds one of the largest monkey research centers in the world. It started back in the 1930s. It's been there to study monkeys, experiment on monkeys, all sorts. But it's also pretty common for the monkeys to escape. There is boat access, and there has been many cases where the monkeys have sneaked onto the boats and then gone onto the mainland of Puerto Rico, where sometimes if they go into the urban areas, people don't know what they're seeing because they've never seen a monkey that close before, and if they see a glimpse, they might think it's something strange. Also, a lot of these Chupacabra sightings happen at night. If you saw a monkey at night, sometimes maybe they have like a reddish tint to their eyes, you could maybe see that as a Chupacabra. There's also reports of Chupacabras apparently jumping from tree to tree, kind of like a monkey. So that's another possibility. Theory number 3. What's 3? 3. It is a cryptid, an undiscovered animal that we just don't know yet. Maybe it is an animal that just hibernates, drinks blood, goes back into hibernation, comes about every 20 years or so. There's a lot of animals that we don't know. Maybe it burrows, something like that.
I think we're a bit overdue by 10 years now.
Chupacabra sightings are still happening, but it's more the Texan dog.
Yeah, I'm kind of like discounting all the ones that aren't Puerto Rico, which is like all of them now.
That's what I do. So I don't think it's a cryptid. However, now we're getting to theories that's more on Jake's side of things.
Ooh, is it Thirsty Bigfoot?
No. Cuatro. Aliens. South America is a hotspot for UFO activity. There are several videos. Even right now, you can look up videos of strange orbs floating over big cities in Colombia. It's always been a big central spot for UFOs. And also a big spot for actual encounters of the third kind. And that's face-to-face with an alien creature. This is not the only time that it would have happened in South America. There's also a case in Varginha, Brazil, which is famous for its UFO sighting because over 20,000 witnesses were talking about seeing this thing, and it possibly killed someone due to illness from touching the being. this is stuff that happens in South America. Also, you saw from that drawing, it looked kind of like an alien.
It did have a very alien, stereotypical alien head on it.
Yeah. Also, another thing that kind of ties to alien things is at the same time Chupacabra attacks happen, they do correlate with a thing called cattle mutilations, which we've talked about before, where the cattle are almost surgically dissected, moving genitals, parts of the skull, udders, and it's like laser focused cuts. These Chupacabra attacks were also quoted as surgical in the way that these cuts were made. Also, some Chupacabra attacks have times been confused with cattle mutilations where they find the bite marks or the puncture wounds, but also the animal's missing its genitalia. It could be aliens. That's something. But now we get to the real shit. Theory cinco.
5 for our uncultured listeners.
United States genetic testing.
There it is. Government.
There actually might be something to this one. Puerto Rico has been used by the United States as a testing ground for a long time. Actually, since like the 30s, 40s. They used it to test Agent Orange, napalm, and several experiments to do with different drugs. And it could be possible that in the modern day genetic testing, that something could have come out. DNA didn't get released to the public until 1985. But in 1975, you don't think they could have been fucking with something? Trying to figure out how to make something cool?
I sure think they could have.
And in 1995, putting it out in a jungle type area where no one would really talk about it? Could be. Or it just got broke out.
Or, yeah, escaped.
Yes. And this also loops back to the monkey thing. There's a monkey experiment and research center right by Puerto Rico. Who says the CIA has not had their hands in that? Just saying.
I mean, if we have aliens recovered from spacecraft and we have monkeys, why not put them together?
It makes us.
I would do it.
Well, yeah, no, 100%. So it could be that. And that's why you only ever had 2 escapes and then nothing. Maybe they figured that this creature was too dangerous for public consumption.
Maybe they could speak telepathically with the handlers and they convinced them to let them out for a walk and then off you go.
You never know. So that's all of my theories on what the Chupacabra could be. Would you like to go to our discussion?
Sure.
All right. James, what do you think today about the Chupacabra? Specifically the Puerto Rican one.
I think that drawing of the Puerto Rico one looked too weird to be real. It's just a amalgamation of too many things. It was a kangaroo, it was a porcupine, it had bird talons, it had an alien head. Come on.
Yeah, so
Like, maybe some fucking chimera hybrid done by some nut job, but I don't know if the Chupacabra in itself is a thing that exists.
So the thing is with the weirdness of like kangaroo legs, bird talons, alien head, spikes or feathers down the back, we're only comparing it to things that we know. If you actually look back in history, there's a lot of strange descriptions of things that do not match. Like today we know the animal, but the description was crazy. So back in like the 1700s, someone discovered a unicorn in Africa. But it was a lot more brutish than how we thought before. It had a horn on the front, but it might have been 2. The skin was more leathery like a lizard, but it was bulky like an ox, and it had the head of a pig, and it was like this, like that's what the description was. The man discovered a rhino. But, you don't know how to describe a rhino, so you compare it to things that you know.
Right.
Same thing with the Ogopogo, horse-like head. Yeah, so, things like that.
Yeah, but we haven't discovered the Ogopogo.
What's that?
I said, but we haven't actually discovered the Ogopogo.
No, I mean like when they say horse-like head.
Yeah,
it's not a literal horse, but
Yeah.
the closest thing they could compare it to is a horse because they know horses.
Right.
So that's why that description is used. It's not going to be literally a horse. So I wouldn't take like the literal description of those, but things that look like that.
Right. Well, I was taking the drawing.
Yeah.
The one that was okayed and had a signature beside it.
The drawing is strange of the Chupacabra. But you know what else was strange? Flatwoods Monster. And that was fucking nuts. And that had a lot of evidence behind it. And it seemed otherworldly. The Chupacabra, to me, looks a little more down to earth than the Flatwoods Monster, if we were comparing those two.
I don't know if you can compare the two.
But if you're putting them side by side and you told me which one is more likely to be on Earth,
If
it would be the Chupacabra. It would.
if we're taking everything at face value as initially described,
Yes.
sure, it'd be more likely.
More likely the Chupacabra. There's nothing mechanical that is like sentient on our planet that way, like an animal that's made of mechanics.
Have you not seen the Tesla robots?
Those are just starting. This is in the 50s.
You
for
think we didn't
flatwoods.
have Tesla robots in the 50s?
No, I do not.
I don't think we did either.
Okay, good. At least we're agreeing on that. But I think that if you put Flatwoods and Chupacabra beside each other, Flatwoods looks way stranger than Chupacabra. Chupacabra actually looks like an animal, at least. And if it was a genetic testing animal, I could see that.
As far as I know and what I have heard, we don't have a great track record with chimeras.
We don't.
They all just die, like very fast.
Yes.
If they ever live at all.
Mhm.
And those are like two things put together.
Yes, but what if this one worked and we weren't ready to deal with it?
What if? I mean, I don't think anyone's ever ready to deal with it. It was just an abomination.
I think there's a possibility. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know. And this thing sounds fucking weird. And that picture looked fucking weird.
I recommend everyone look at the photo.
Yes.
Look at not the photo. It's not a photo.
The drawing.
Look at the drawing. You'll see it's just a little too weird.
You can find all of these pictures and drawings on our Instagram and Facebook, where I post them every Friday when I post an episode. I don't know. This thing is weird. But also, if you're going to say it's too weird for Earth, perhaps it's not too weird for somewhere else. It could be like Momo, just an alien pet that got loose.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Do I have any theories, though?
Yeah, because like you got to think as well, like with the weird teeth, like the bite that goes through the neck and up to the brain.
Yeah, so sure, one theory definitely could be it's some sort of weird-ass hybrid chimera thing that we weren't ready for, whatever that means. I don't think we'd ever be ready for that disgusting thing. I definitely think obviously all the ones from like Texas and stuff are bullshit.
Yeah.
Those are just canines.
The people in Texas are adamant that it's a chupacabra, and I've actually called them chupacabras now. Like that's like it's like colloquial name for dog with mange.
Well, they're the first ones to actually get an animal, so I guess they can own that one.
I guess so. I mean, it's a wolf coyote hybrid with mange. That's what a chupacabra is in Texas, anyway.
Buddy who got the first one should have cut off its head and kept it.
Yes.
What else could it be, other than that thing? Well, though 1, 2, and 3 bite mark things are weird because you said they're only ever seen one at a time.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it could be going back for seconds or thirds, or maybe it missed the artery or whatever it was going for and had to shoot again. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if it's going into people's houses and stuff and licking their rabbits.
The rabbits were outside, but they were caged.
Oh.
There was an apparent report of a chupacabra breaking into someone's house trying to eat their teddy bear, and then when they left a pile of slime. But I couldn't find the people. I couldn't find the source, but it spread around a lot. So I just credited it to bullshit because it came out in November of '95 near the end or near the height of the craze of the chupacabra.
Fair enough. Have there been more in Puerto Rico?
Not that I could find. There's been other apparent sightings in some parts, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of disappears. It's the same thing with the vampire mocha. Just disappears.
Yeah, so that was like 2 brief periods with a 20-year break. Like that's pretty difficult too. Like,
and to the month, almost. Like February 75 to March 95.
Yeah, so what hibernates for that long? Like cicadas are like what, 15 years, something like that, or some of them?
Yeah.
That's really about it. A bug that lives in the dirt. Like I think there's lots of well, maybe not lots, but I think there's some microorganisms that can basically indefinitely go into stasis. They essentially eject all the water from their bodies and turn into little pellets for as long as need be. Perhaps a tardigrade, but I don't know that for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very limited on ideas. There were definitely some... That's the other thing too, like that video we saw, right?
Mhm.
there were those bite marks in the animals.
Yep.
But not all those animals were even dead. So they still had, like I say, most of their blood if they're still alive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever wounded those animals that were still alive, those weren't covered in blood either.
No.
So it was some sort of wound that didn't get them bleeding.
Yeah, it's weird though that it wouldn't bleed like that.
Yeah.
There's something weird to the Puerto Rican one.
Maybe they weren't drained of blood and they just had wounds that got them in spots where they don't bleed profusely.
In the neck?
I don't know. We watched the same video. Those animals were alive. Some of them.
I think what it could possibly be as well is if there's a coincidental internal bleeding where it doesn't maybe sink to the bottom. Maybe it's caught in an organ.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't show the rigor mortis. It would appear that it wasn't bleeding. It found a different way to bleed.
Yeah, and like once blood coagulates, like it doesn't flow. Like
And it coagulates faster than people think.
yeah, like you die, your heart stops pumping. You're not really going to be losing that blood after.
And if they did get bit and say that there was maybe an internal bleeding that leaked into an organ somewhere and it coagulated overnight or something and just like clotted, then you wouldn't have any blood outside the animal. It still doesn't explain the lack of footprints and the strange long fangs.
I mean, when was the last time you saw a footprint?
Well, it depends
I mean,
on...
given we live in a city, but
Well-
the only places I see footprints are at the beach and if someone stepped in a muddy spot in like a trail.
When I was raised in a really rural area.
Yep.
And not all tracks are like full indentations in the ground. Some of them are just matted parts, and you can usually tell what kind of thing it was by looking at it. Of course, there was easy ones with mud, but there's several different kinds of tracks that you can track and several different ways that you can track a creature.
Like these are drought times you're talking about, right?
Yeah, very dusty.
There's no
Mhm.
soft spots to leave footprints by the sounds of it.
I mean, similar with Momo, right? It
And
took them
then
a while.
these are animals and probably grazing fields and stuff. It's just going to be grass that they're stomping on all day.
It's similar to Momo, where it was like really dry, and it was hard for them to find a footprint until it apparently walked through a garden with fresh manure in it. But there was no, I don't know. There's like, it's weird. It's weird that there's like literally nothing to point anywhere.
Yeah, and also like it's not like the southern states ones we've done where there's big hunting parties after the fact either.
No,
Sounds like there's a bunch of dead animals. A couple farmers stayed out after dark to see if they could shoot something. And that was about it.
as it appeared, people were actually like more afraid of this. They see these animals like it looks like it's a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, so people, like, lots of people just locked their doors and stayed inside. It was a lot more like, don't fuck with this. As for Americans, are more gung ho, we're going to kill this. They're just a different culture. I think in Latin America, they more respect.
More superstitious.
They're more superstitious, and I think they more respect the traditions and the culture and the folklore. So that's why they didn't do the big. There was one, they did collect posses for the vampire Mocha. There was some posses that went out to try to get it, but they found nothing. So I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say with this one.
Yeah.
I'm not really leaning more one way or another for any given thing here. I mean, you mentioned this was around the same time as some of the cattle mutilations.
Yes.
Like how around the same time?
So sometimes within the same span of time, there was cattle mutilations in South America.
Right, so like simultaneously, like within the same year type thing?
Within 95, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is like at the same time it correlates with mutilations
Yeah.
of cattle.
Yeah.
And
It's too bad that they're different though.
here's the weird part is I looked up like timeline of Chupacabra attacks, and I looked through all of them. And when I was reading it, I was like, that's not a Chupacabra, that's a cattle mutilation. Because like it has the puncture wounds, but it's like it's missing its genitalia, and it's like it's part of its head's cored out. That's not a Chupacabra. And then you go to another one, it's like, oh, it's blood dry, it's got the puncture wounds. I'm like, okay, that's more Chupacabra. And then it almost evolves to more cattle mutilation style with some of them, and those were pointed towards Chupacabra. But at the same time, in the early 90s, throughout the United States and Canada, there was cattle mutilations that matched the descriptions of a more extreme version than the Chupacabra.
Yeah, it does sound mutilation-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird one.
Like they all are, I guess.
The only part for me that I hang on is the teeth, how deep the teeth were. And you brought up silly straws. I'm curious if there was some weird mutilation shit. They have some weird tool.
Well, they're going to have weird tools. If someone's doing weird stuff to animals, they have weird tools.
Yes. But again,
Probably.
I don't think it's human intervention. I think it's something otherworldly that did this. If there was some sort of mutilation. Because when humans do mutilations, they are not clean.
Yeah, and we can just, I don't know, take the animal and dissect it. I don't know.
Yeah, you find hiking
You're
boot trails.
killing it anyways.
So,
Doesn't have to be that precise.
well, with all this, do you want to head to our conclusions?
Let's do it.
Sounds good. So, James, in the case of El Chupacabra, we have the strange attacks in 1975 of El Vampiro de Moca. They disappeared 6 months after they started. 20 years later, almost to the month, the attacks start again. We have goats drained of blood, strange 1, 2, or 3 hole puncture wounds with no blood. We have, in 1995 alone, over 1,000 different livestock deaths related to the Chupacabra, with hundreds of apparent witnesses. We have the correlation of strange UFO cattle mutilation stuff in South America as the Chupacabra stuff is going on. We have Madeline Tolentino's story of apparently seeing that strange alien creature, with 3 other witnesses that apparently saw it too, 2 of which attempted to tackle it in their garage. We have other people correlating this sort of sighting with other sightings that look similar. We have that strange video I showed you of all the weird punctures and all that crap. We have strange reports of apparent chupacabras almost internationally now, of these strange creatures and attacks, including some not a few hours away from where we live now. We have Jose Luis Talavera's strange case where he killed a chupacabra and the bodies, quote, got switched out. We also have the fact there's several United States testing grounds around Puerto Rico and in South America that could lead to possible genetic testing, creating some strange chimera beast. We have the several Texas sightings that I won't go into because they're stupid. But other than that, the strangeness of the Puerto Rican sightings with these wounds that couldn't be identified and the strange long teeth, all this weird stuff in Puerto Rico, on our scale from 1 to 5. 1 being, I'm an idiot. 2 being, you're skeptical. 3, on the fence. 4, there's something strange here, but you're not sure if it's paranormal. 5, El Chupacabra is plaguing Puerto Rico every 20 years. What do you come down to today?
Today, I think I come down to a... Don't hate me. Thinking like a 2.9? 3? 2.9? 3?
Can you justify what a 2.9 means?
I'm very skeptical,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm leaning towards... I'm on the fence that there's something weird going on. But there's been also very limited amounts of time where something weird has been going on.
Which also kind of adds to it.
It also takes away from it.
Less than a year, over 1,000 animal deaths.
20 years of nothing.
I know. What the fuck? That's fucking weird.
It's in...
Take out
3.
3?
3.
3!
On the fence, 3. Because those animals did have weird puncture wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's about it. I don't know.
That's the weird part, though. That's like the biggest part of this, is we can't explain those wounds.
Sure, someone could. I don't know.
The only explanation we've had is dogs or foxes. Otherwise, no one else has given any reason, and they don't really match dog attacks.
You get two. You get a straw. You could create a puncture wound.
Not like that. Too surgical. It's too clean. It's too long. Like, as you can see, some of those animals were still alive in that video. Something was killing that recently. You telling me you couldn't find a person?
I mean, people can walk away. I don't know.
There's a group of people with flashlights looking around that area. They couldn't find what did it.
Yeah, they missed it.
I think a person wouldn't have got away.
People get away with stuff all the time.
They do, but
The Zodiac Killer,
no.
Jack the Ripper.
I get that, but I mean, how close they were to the vicinity of these recently killed or dying animals. Ignore Texas and the rest of the world.
I'm ignoring Texas and the rest of the world. I'm just thinking about Puerto Rico.
It's just the strange wounds, because that's all we do have, but that is evidence. Something did kill these animals, and we still don't know what did it.
That's the only reason why I'm at a 3 is because, I don't have a great explanation for that many animal deaths with all similar puncture wounds.
I think a 3 is a fair judgment.
Yeah.
It's not like you're saying it's definitely paranormal. It's like something killed these animals.
Something killed those animals. I don't know what it was.
We don't know what it is.
Where are you today on this?
For me, it's a 4. And the reason it's a 4 is because I lean towards the alien or US genetic testing side of things.
Yeah.
I think they might be testing something using a place that's a little more off the grid.
Like, that's a very cool theory.
Mhm.
But that's about where it stops right there.
I know. I like it. I
So-
lean more towards the alien side of things with the cattle
like-
mutilations.
I would love it to be either aliens or some cool genetic testing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing really to support it at the moment.
Other than the fact that there happens to be US testing grounds in Puerto Rico.
There's US testing grounds everywhere.
Yeah, I know, but in Puerto Rico. The thing is that for me, it also makes sense that why they would disappear around this time. Like 75, 95, I can see it happening then. But now everyone has phones.
Yeah, and it's
And-
been more than 20 years. It's been 30.
It's been more than 20 years. So, maybe they don't want to risk it in these areas. Like maybe we don't want to risk it in an area where things can get out. Maybe they learned from the Chupacabra. Back in 75, they could sweep it under the rug. No one knew what was going on. But in 95, the news got a hold of it and it blew up. So they were like, "Ooh, maybe we should move the testing for this thing somewhere else."
Cell phones really did ruin everything.
They really did. Anyway, that's what I'm coming down to. I'm a 4 today.
Okay.
But I agree. I'm okay with your 3. I think that's a fair judgment from a skeptical point of view. Thank you for listening to everybody. I got James right to the fence today on El Chupacabra, one of the Mount Rushmores of cryptozoology or ufology, whichever you prefer it to be. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates and case photos. I post them every Friday with every episode we release. If you like what we're doing here, please rate and follow on Spotify. You can subscribe on YouTube. It means a lot, goes a long way. And also tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best advertisement, and it is free.
And it's all we can afford.
It's also all we can afford.
Please tell people. give it a shot. Give it a listen. Tell your coworker. Tell your boss.
Note the hint of desperation in James's voice.
Send an email, quote unquote, accidentally to all employees at the company you work for.
Picture this. Arms of an Angel starts playing. You see James's sad face behind a microphone. For absolutely no money today, you can support a loser podcaster like this guy. For the same price as flipping off somebody in traffic, you can support this podcaster's dream to not work.
That's a great idea. Flip someone off in traffic, get their attention, and tell them to go give it a listen.
And after you've been hit in the face a few times, maybe they'll think about it.
Yeah, they'll feel so bad for hitting such a pathetic person multiple times that they'll give it a shot. They'll give you a shot.
I'm liking this plan. Well, James, with that, any words of the wise today?
Careful with what you're doing to livestock, otherwise people might start calling you goat sucker.
Words everyone can live by. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Adios, muchachos.